Infernal Blessings. Back, another one out today, but this will be the last one. So I kind of wanted to continue part of the discussion that I talked about in the previous video, as you see the topic. All right. Before I do that, a couple quick announcements. Again, we are just, as the recording of this video, 2 days away from the 6th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference. If you still would like to sign up and attend, shoot me an email. The conference kicks off officially on Friday, the 20th. We're 9 to 4 p.m. We'll have classes and workshops and presentations and ritual and spiritual work. Same thing on Saturday, 9 to 4 during the day. And both nights on Friday and Saturday, we meet back up and we do group ritual work together on both of those nights. Followed, by a group dinner and some socializing and some hanging out and some fun stuff. And then Sunday from noon to 4 p.m., I will be doing a question and answer session on anything on the occult or anything that transpired over the weekend in the conference. This is our 6th year doing it. It takes place in Hollywood, Florida at Cultural Expressions, which is just minutes from Hollywood Fort Lauderdale International Airport, minutes from hotels, the beach, Airbnbs, shopping, you name it. A very convenient location. As I said in years past, people have just Ubered it. They haven't even rented a car, most people, unless you have other side plans. That's up to you. If you're still interested in attending in person or virtually, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com and I'll send you the information on how you can do that. All right. If you're interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I offer various different readings: Klepothic demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, shadow work readings, deity readings. Shoot me an email and I will send you information on how to book a spiritual reading or a consultation. Also, don't forget to check out our Instagram page, Primordial Chaos 9 on Instagram. Don't forget to also check out my Facebook page, Primordial Chaos, 2 words, on Facebook. I also upload all my YouTube videos on the Facebook page. And don't forget, all this new content is also being uploaded to the Primordial Chaos podcast. The podcast can be found on Spotify and all major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast, my contact email address, and also the direct link to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page. That's the way you sign up for the private classes I do every month. I do 3 every month on Patreon for Patreon members only. And there's an extensive series of ongoing classes: Ancient Egyptian Vampiric Magic, which we did a great class last night as of the recording of this video. Sith Dark Side Alchemy and Philosophy class. A new class I just recently added, Necromancy and Dark Witchcraft. Some other ongoing series, Shadow Work class, number 18, and counting is what we're up to. Esoterical Occult Bible Study class, Kundalini Meditation and Awakening class, and that's just to name a few. Again, on the Patreon page, the private classes, it's a bit different. Where I go a lot more in depth on the Patreon page. It's more of a group interaction. There's ritual work, exercises. So it's a whole different format. It's again, if you want to take, your spiritual path and your spiritual path of self-mastery to that next level, and you want to put in that work, and you really want to take it up to that next notch, check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti, tier 3. That's the tier that gives you access to all of the classes. All right. So again, the direct link to the Patreon page to sign up for classes, my contact email, the direct link for the podcast, the social media pages, all of that is in the description box of this video that you're watching right now. All right. I want to continue to talk about constant change, right? Something I alluded to in the previous video. I said I'd elaborate a little bit more on it. I kind of had some more I wanted to input, but ran out of time. Now, there's a saying, right, that we all probably have heard before in spirituality and metaphysics. The only thing that's constant in the universe is change. Anything that doesn't change dies. And death is just not regulated. We're not just talking about a physical death. You could be mentally dead, spiritually dead, physically dead, etc. What tends to happen when you're not constantly evolving and changing, you're not growing. You're not transforming or evolving into something bigger, better, and greater. We all are so familiar with the symbol of Baphomet that we all connect with, on different levels. But there's one thing that's inscribed on the forearm of the Baphomet, coagulate, which is the Latin to transform or evolve from one state to something, again, bigger and better, growth. And that, in essence, is what the Baphomet truly represents. Now, again, as I said in the past, I don't teach, like some spooky-ass people teach, that Baphomet is an actual entity or deity. Now, there are people who teach that. Look, it's your choice. You can do whatever you want. I don't teach that. It's an alchemical symbol of personal transformation on a multitude of levels. As I've said in the past, I designed my whole mentorship program and the Patreon page around the 5 points of self-mastery on the pentagram and the sigil of Baphomet, right? When an occultist, a black magician, an adept, whatever title you like to use, whatever floats your boat, looks upon that symbol of Baphomet and the 5-pointed star, or the image of Baphomet, right? That's what you should be focused on. And as I said in the past, it's a very widely used symbol, and let's just say spiritual path, because it's used in many different systems. I don't want to just say occult and left-hand path, but it is used in a variation of ways. We look at it as an alchemical sigil or symbol, and everything that's encased in it, okay? Androgyny, equilibrium, harmony, the 5 elements, the divine masculine and feminine principles, the as above, so below, the so within, so without, all those things, right? But when it comes to change, okay, you can't get that change if you don't have that harmony that one needs to change, okay? As I said in the previous video, some people are just very routine. They're creatures of habit. Some people just don't embrace change well. As I said in the previous video, it's hard for them. And usually somebody who is stuck in a routine for a very long time, or as we like to sometimes use the term creatures of habit, it's a comfort zone. It's a fear. Sometimes great change disrupts people on a multitude of levels. They just don't know how to deal with it. So the one thing we have to be prepared for being on this path, and I've said this many times over the years, one thing we have to be prepared for is change. We have to be prepared for that change. Because when you're doing work with gods, goddesses, demons, archetypes, whatever your approach is, the entities on this path bring serious change. You are opening up your psyche, your mind, your subconscious mind. You are opening up to things you have never opened it up to before. This also is a very important reason why you need to be in a sound mind and a sound body. And this is also why mental health is super critical when you're doing any type of ritual work that deals with high levels, intense energy, that's going to bring about that change. And this is what I mean when I say people who might dabble in some form of ritual work that maybe mentally they're just not prepared for it. They're not in that sound mind. They're not prepared to absorb that change. That's where it can become a little problematic for an individual. I'm just going to be honest with you. And this is why I always focus hard and say it's important to be in sound mind. You can't be out in Spookyville, okay? Now, some of you will be able to seriously relate to what I'm about to say now. Some of you may not. For those that have been working on this path, and when you're working with great road clearing, path clearing archetypes, whether that's Kali, whether that's Lilith, different masks of Lucifer, whether that's Set, you name it. I'm just throwing a few out there. There's more. Those that know that sometimes that change comes in such intense waves. And sometimes people underestimate. They might, look, as I said before, books cannot fully prepare you for everything. Sometimes people, I read the book. All right, that's cool, but the book is not going to 100% prepare you for what you're going to experience and go through. Especially when you're doing ritual work for specific change on specific things in your life. So let me give you an example. Sometimes people are looking for peace and harmony in their household, right? Or their personal life, or their marriage, or their love life, or they want a sound relationship. But they may not realize until they do their ritual work and the results they get. They could come to the realization the problem is the person they with isn't the person that they're supposed to be with long term. And sometimes these spirits, demons will remove things immediately around you. You're just not conscious. Sometimes we're under the illusion that a lot of things we're comfortable with, the people, the places, and the things we feel, or we might think in our mind, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is my life path. And the spirits say, no, you invoked us, we're going to show you. And sometimes people don't understand why maybe their relationship starts to go sour or gets completely destroyed after doing some type of ritual work, okay? Because what the spirits are trying to show them is that person, unfortunately, that you're sleeping next to every night, that could be the root cause of your problem. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but it happens. Okay? It happens. So you must be clear, number one, in what you want. Sometimes we think or we feel like we know what we want, and then sometimes our ritual work shows us that's not what we want. Could be confused for needs, as I've said in the past, right? So you always need to take the approach as you grow and study and learn on this path, as you create ritual work and carry out ritual work and spiritual practices. Be prepared to embrace that change when it comes. Don't be caught off guard. Now, sometimes, this is how people get caught off guard sometimes. They create preconceived notions in their mind how they think it's going to always play out, right? They assume, right? The 3 first letters of the word assume is ass. Don't make an ass of yourself. The best way to approach the spirits is to cover all bases in the sense, I always do the approach, whatever it is I'm working for, I always focus on whatever the overall best outcome will be if I'm working on a specific issue or situation. I kind of don't really focus on the particulars unless it's something of a serious nature, and that's all that needs to be focused on. But when you let the energy work for you as opposed to maybe trying to resist it or influence it, that's what I mean about preconceived notions. Like, let me give you an example if you're confused. Like in the past, we've had people, when we do, when people come live in person and we do group ritual work here, in the past, we've had people that, certain rituals, especially rituals of an initiatic nature, you're not supposed to know anything. That's why it's an initiatic ritual. And that's why you go into the ritual with an open mind. Well, in the past, we've had people, just trying to dig and pry, like when they came to the ritual beforehand, like, oh, so what's the ritual about? Oh, okay, you just give them a brief this, that, and the other. And then they just keep asking continual questions, trying to dig and dig. and get as much information as they can. Because, see, that's an individual who's not going into the ritual work just embracing it. That's an individual who's trying to control, in the wrong way, the ritual work. They think by getting, as much info as they can, they think before they begin, in their mind, they've already sorted out what the ritual is about or what it is, and it could be for a multitude of reasons. Usually it's for the reasons to feel secure and safe. Usually it's for the reasons to move insecurity and fear. And what you're actually doing is you are destroying the authentic experience that you're supposed to have when you do that ritual work. And this is why I say nothing can fully, you could do all that and many other things, but nothing 100% fully can prepare you for what's going to happen. Nothing can 100% prepare you, as I've said before, for being ready. To me, that's people through fear on a multitude of levels trying to resist change. Now, as I've said before, I'm not saying to go recklessly and carelessly and jump into spiritual stuff that you don't feel, knowledgeable on. Do your due diligence, 100%. But have confidence and trust in the knowledge that you've acquired through your research, your study, your reading, and maybe work prior to that. Have confidence in that, because that's what's going to give you the strength to embrace the change. Stop looking for something external to validate it for you. Stop trying to get some person to validate it for you. Think I should do it? Think I'm ready? Oh, you do it? No, you'll know. You'll know. But when change comes, you have to embrace it. And the only way you work your way through it, even if it's change of an uncomfortable nature, and you're gonna deal with a lot of uncomfortable changes on this path. That's person, places, and things. If you've been on this path for a while, you can already attest that you can probably see in a very short period of time how people in your circle have changed or completely disappeared. Because when you're growing and changing on this path, you're also growing and evolving away from individuals that are not on the same frequency as you. And sometimes their very presence as you're growing doesn't feel the same. And your personal daemon is alerting you to the fact it's time to move on. Relationships, like other things in life, and I'm not just talking about intimate, romantic, and sexual relationships with people in general, just like anything else, sometimes they run their course. Sometimes that's what it was, that's what it is, it's done with, it's time to move on. It's very important to have the right type of people around you, because you are the company you keep, and you become just like the circles that you run in, regardless if you're trying to or not. What you have around you is very highly influential in how it affects you. So, if you're hanging around with knuckleheads that bring in drama all the time, it's time to dead that shit, right? You can't do that no more, right? If you're not hanging around productive people, you're not going to be a productive person. And these are the people that struggle to change. They can't change their ways, their habits. They can't. It just seems like they can never get fully going on this path and get the results that they're trying to get, because they just, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, they're just not changing. And you have to change. Because until you get your mind prepared for it, because I've literally seen people make, this is a huge fucking mistake. I've seen people in their mind come on this path and they literally think, now maybe they're a person that doesn't really have a lot of stuff going on, or maybe for the most part, and be careful, this is very important, maybe for the most part their life is in pretty good shape, but maybe they're interested in the occult, the left-hand path, and they come on this path and they think, okay, I'm kind of good at the moment, things is flowing. They automatically think it's going to stay like that. But keep in mind, this uncovers stuff too that you're not conscious and aware of. So there might be things hiding or lurking that's brought to your attention that you didn't see before you came on this path. And that could bring intense change. I've seen that side too. That happens. Okay? Not everybody always on this path. Like I say, I don't do a lot of work for just all these wanting something all the time. Right? You shouldn't have to, because if you're doing it all the time, then you need to question yourself, the lack of results you're getting. Maybe it's the way you're going about doing things, the way you're living your life, etc. It could be any of those things. But if you're constantly doing fucking work all the time, want, there's something not right there, right? There's something off that you need to take a look at, right? Maybe there's something on an internal level that you need to change, right? Now, there's times you have to do that for particular reasons of a personal nature, but when you're doing that shit constantly, I'm just going to be honest with you, that's not really it's not really a good thing, okay? Excuse me. So long story short, I'm not going to stay too long-winded with it. This video is going to be a little bit shorter as I'm almost at my destination. I just wanted to kind of come on here and again remind you, anything that doesn't change dies. This is why people who stay in religious dogmas and religions, they do the same old repetitive shit over and over. Day in, day out, year in, year out. They have a liturgical or religious calendar that the church goes by every year, just repetitively from January to December. They just do the same shit. What that does is create a dead mind, because you are cutting yourself off. You are cutting your creativity, and you are shutting down all other avenues of knowledge. Why would you want to do that? Again, sometimes the programming is that deep. People don't look at it like that. They don't see it like that. And to be honest, some motherfuckers just don't care. They're just doing what everybody else is doing because that's the way they were either raised, or that's what they were told was the right thing to do. And some people are just along for the ride. You know them motherfuckers. They're just there because everybody else is doing it. Okay? So we have to be prepared to embrace the change, or we become mentally and spiritually dead. Okay? And we don't want that. Right? So always keep your roads opened. Okay? But I can't dumb down, sugarcoat, or even try to make it sound very simple. The change is a big thing on this path. And there's beautiful things from the change too. Let's just not talk about the hardship and the difficulty. There's a lot of beautiful things about the change, because once you change and get yourself into a better place overall, not just a physical place, but a mental and emotional and spiritual place, that's when shit starts to really take off for you. That's when the growth really comes. Now that's a whole other aspect of change that you should really feed upon and look at in a positive nature, right? That's something you should really look at and go, wow, because I was prepared for the change because I embraced the change, I now am prepared and ready to maybe open a new chapter, a new cycle, a new phase in my personal life. But long story short, be prepared, ready to embrace the change. That's the one thing that's constant in this universe. All right? I'm going to wrap it up here again. A couple more days if you want to sign up for the 6th annual journey of the Black Adept Conference, either in person or virtually. Shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. I will send you the information on how you can register and sign up for the 6th straight year we've been doing this conference. Looking forward to it. We're 2 days out. It's going to be a fun weekend. Shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you information on how to sign up for the conference. All right? If you're interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, shoot me an email. and I will send you information on how to book a reading or a consultation. Okay. Also, keep in mind, all this content is being uploaded to the Primordial Chaos podcast. Also on the Facebook page, Primordial Chaos, 2 words. Check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9. The direct link to the Primordial Chaos podcast, my contact email address, the social media pages, and the direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page where you sign up. That's where you sign up for the classes I do offer. 3 every month on Patreon and a group ritual. You want to join patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti, and tier 3 is the tier you want to join. That gives you access to all the classes, ongoing series, and all the content, not just from the day you join moving forward, but you get access to all the content in the archive. So all of that information is in the description box of this video you're watching right now. That's going to do it for me. Hopefully this video helped you in some shape, form, or fashion. Infernal blessings. We'll talk soon.